Can I just get two?
You can make tea. So you use jam jars in for controlling slugs, is that right?
Well, we have used jam jars half filled with beer, which slugs really like, and they get in there at night and disappear into a happy ending with the beer trap.
And how do you use the jam jars?
Well, we sink them halfway into the ground
Halfway?
so that they can't tip over, can't be knocked over,
I do it.
and we find that they are successful. But, there are several forms of killing slugs.
I've been doing my jam jars flush with the surface of the soil.
Well,
But you do yours so they stick out, do you?
they usually do stand up a little bit. Yeah.
And that doesn't stop the slugs going in?
No, they seem to be quite capable of climbing on the glass and disappearing inside.
And does that work with the large slugs as well as the small ones?
Yep, all kinds. They all love beer.
And
A night out.
when do you do that?
Well, you can start in early spring. Try and get ahead of the game before your crops appear, but they are governed by the weather just like us and the plants, and they will appear when they're ready, when they think there's a crop to be chewed up.
And do the slug traps not fill with water when it rains?
Well, they will. Some people have covers which they have on top, which is just to protect them from the rain, but that is a manufactured product. I've never used a cover, and
That could be something people could design.
well, I'm sure they're out there ready. You could probably buy them in a garden centre. Yeah.
And what other ways of deterring or slugs have you used?
Well, you can, of course, use copper bands, but I haven't found them to be totally successful. They only will prevent a slug from entering a certain area because they get a slight electric shock from the copper, and that simply deters them and sends them in another direction.
What about the when you plant things out? Are there particular times you should, or sizes of plant that you should plant out in order to make them more slug resistant or less likely to be completely destroyed by the slugs?
Well, I've found that slugs are not fussy. They'll take anything you plant out at all, anything at all. A lot of people use slug pellets, of course, and they're still with us, and I have used those. There used to be a form of slug killer which was made from the bark of a tree. The origin of the bark I just don't know anymore, but it was highly successful. It was a natural means of killing a slug.
So an organic slug killer kind of thing, and that killed them, did it?
Oh yes. Sadly, it's no longer available.
Oh, it might be something to look up.
I think, yes, possibly. I think it was purchased by a chemical firm who literally replaced it with a form of slug pellet.
Okay, well, thanks, Pete.